Evening, folks. Welcome back to the farm. It's a chilly one out there. It's about as cold as is humanly bearable outside. About minus 25 right now. Minus 25 is kind of a magic number for me because I kind of feel like once it hits minus 25, like it doesn't, like you're just cold. Like there's just no way around it. Like after it gets beyond minus 25, the ability to kind of dress for the weather is kind of diminished. Like it doesn't matter what you do at that point in time. You're just cold, downright cold. Anyways, I'm in the shop here, gonna get some chicken feed prepped. I gotta run the tractor out, run a hay bale out for the sheep. I got my pickup in here, hood's up. That's not because it's broke down or nothing, but everything was all snow and ice. So I popped the hood up, put some new windshield washer fluid in, let some of the big chunks of ice and whatnot melt off of this thing so that, you know, the minute you try to turn the tire, it's not just grinding and doing all that kind of bad stuff. So, and then I've had to empty this sump already twice today and looks like it's full. So I'm gonna have to empty that again because somebody, when they built this shop, did not plumb that directly into some type of a pump or a septic system or some type of a drain. So we get about 6 pails of fluid and then it's full. It's one of those things where if you just don't have the forethought, the foresight, you pay the price for a long period of time. For us, it's going to be the rest of my life. Actually, the biggest reason I pulled this thing in here today is because I went to town to pick up the loop load, the bread, carrot sticks, some looks like zucchinis, sandwiches, day old pizza. Some good stuff in there for the chickens. I couldn't get my tailgate open, so that was really inconvenient. But I mean, I eventually got it open, but I had to like beat and chip and do all kinds of bad stuff to the back bumper to get it to open. So I figured I should probably pull it in here for a little bit and let some of that ice get out of there so that when the guy pushes that button, it'll actually open. It's one thing I hate about this is they put a little rubber electric button in here. And so if that's cold, there's no force on earth that can get that to open. You gotta go inside, hit the button from inside the cab. And if all this is all froze up, it doesn't matter how hard you push that button from inside the cab, it's not gonna open. I'm just unboxing some sandwiches here to give to the dogs. This one here, ham and cheese. We got a turkey club, we got a pizza sub in there. Now, this is going to be dog food. It'd be fantastic if we could feed this to the chickens or anything like that, but unfortunately, can't be feeding meat to chickens. Now, chickens are, of course, an omnivore, but CFIA regulations are pretty strict, right? Now, aside from the regulations, I also grew up in the UK where we saw BSE and we saw like the human version of that, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, and some pretty bad stuff happened, right? So the dogs are going to get their ham and cheese sub, and the chickens are going to stick to bread and veggies. Another fun fact about the whole BSE crisis in the UK, if you were there in 1994, and well, between 1994 and 2000, I think it was, and you were there for more than 4 months and you consumed beef, the Canadian Blood Services, they would just outright ban you for donating blood. So I was actually banned from donating blood for 300 years. Now that's wild to think that could actually be a thing. But yeah, I went there unknowingly, answered a questionnaire. They took me in the side room and they said, it's a no-go. And I said, well, like, is there a potential that like it could be? And they're like, yeah, not until the year 2297. I was like, yeah, that's a day or two away. But funnily enough, they recently just actually reached out and said the criteria has changed. So I don't know if they care as much about whether or not you've got filthy cow blood, or, you know, whether the research has proven that it's kind of the risk has subsided. Like, it hasn't got me yet, so it's not going to get me ever. Or maybe they're just that desperate for blood. I'm not sure, but anyways, fun fact about the blood services deal. I got 2 more sandwiches I got to unpack, get the dogs fed. That'll keep them out of the shop when I pop the big door open and get the tractor out of here. Because this thing, I pop that door open, they all rush in. And then they just they will just tear into a bunch of chicken snacks and wreak havoc. So I got to feed them first so they don't come in here and tear the place apart. Now, last week in the loop load, we got 5 cases of meat. And so I put that in our grain shed. It's outside. It's minus 25 outside. It's cold. That meat's all frozen. But these sandwiches, like, I mean, they're good for 3 days on the shelf. And then like tomorrow they got to go, right? So I'll feed them today because I'm not going to freeze a sandwich. Like, I feel like if you pulled a sandwich out of the freezer to give to the dog, like, the dog deserves to be disappointed in you. So, whereas if you pull a steak out of the freezer and defrost it, then the dog's obviously pretty stoked about that. I'm in the big tractor here now. I'm just gonna run around bale over the sheep. You know, as a content creator, the guy's always a little bit concerned in the winter months. Like, how many episodes will people watch of me feeding chickens in the dark? Like, that gets pretty old. Even for me, it gets old pretty quick. So anyways, we're gonna go feed some sheep in the dark instead. Give that a try. My plan was, I got that little pen on the south side of the barn, and I've been running them in there for the last, just while the weather's been rotten, right? I don't want to have them out in the big field or buried under 3 feet of snow. My plan was to be able to kick them out of that little pen into the paddock behind the barn while I run a bale in there. But that all came to bear before we had 3 feet of snow. So best laid plans, mice and men. But nevertheless, now I got to try and move a bunch of panels, move a bunch of sheep in the dark. Which I got tractor lights, like, it's not completely in the dark. But I'm sure I'm going to have mixed levels of success here. And then if we're just fighting to pack steel panels through the snow, get them redirected out to where they got to be, get a bale in there, and then get everybody back in, and hopefully throughout all of that, don't get stuck. Well, finding the sheep wasn't too hard in the dark. Big lights in the back of the tractor help. And getting them through the 3-foot deep snow out to the back side of the barn, that wasn't hard either. I think the hardest thing I had to do was relocate these panels and trudge my way through the snow. It's crazy how high the tractor sits up on top of that snowpack. But then you go to get out of the ladder or out of the stairs, and you're just like, boom, like down into the snow. Not quite to the knees, but definitely 3/4 of the way up a guy's shin. I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. I just got the big bale on the front of the big tractor from the haystack over there. And I've been dancing with fate. Thankfully, I haven't needed chains yet. I've been taking this thing into some pretty deep snow, and of course, you get bombing through there, and then you think, you know what, I'm getting close to a fence or a barn or a gate. I did hit the gate yesterday, so that wasn't too good. Not here, right at the front gate, so right in the driveway, right where I gotta go through every day, so that's fantastic. But anyway, she's chewing. She bogged down a little bit there, boop, dropped out, took another bite, and just kept on trucking. So overall, I'm pretty happy. I'm not too happy about having to cut the frozen strings off of this thing. I wish there was, you know, aside from net wrap's not a really good solution either for wintertime because it's all frozen up and all kinds of stuff. I wish there was a better way, but probably not in my lifetime. I think what I might end up having to do is take a page out of my father-in-law's book. Not verbatim, but just, you know, a little bit of something that he does. So he pre-cuts strings. So, you know, he's got to feed multiple times throughout the week. He's going to be away at work. Mother-in-law is going to run out there with the tractor. It's just easy for her to grab a bale with a grapple, run it out, drop it in a feeder, and done, right? Now, of course, that's not our situation at all here. For the most part, I'm always around to fire up the tractor and go take the bale where it's got to go. But it seems that when a guy does have the time to do it, it's always dark. And so I think if a guy's got 15 minutes or whatever when he gets home from work before supper, the guy's got to come over here, cut some strings, pull them off, you know, on a Thursday afternoon or something like that, so that Saturday night, you know, if a guy's doing it in the evening or whatever, you can just grab that bail with the grapple, pick it up, and go drop it in. You don't have to worry about searching for strings in the dark so that nothing gets left behind, nobody gets a ball of twine in their gut, and then whatever profit a guy makes at the end of the year ends up down in the gut pile on the south end of the farm. I almost got buried right here, coming out between this fence panel and the corner of the barn, uphill, in reverse. I got lots to go forward. Going backwards uphill, I think, is difficult for anybody. I did realize that the diff lock didn't seem like it was engaging on that tractor. That's something I'm gonna have to look at come January, when we get a couple big melts and everything's real slippery around the yard. I'm probably gonna want that to work, so I'll have to dig into that a little bit. All right, I've had my wrestling match, got my panels back up. That one's just propped there, so it's held there by thoughts and prayers and 2 feet of snow. So hopefully when I let the sheep loose, the 2 dogs on that side of the fence discourage anybody from putting pressure on that, and they just go right into here, get into Snack Town. That'd be great. So of course you can't see any of this because it is pitch black back here, but there are 22 sheep over here. Come on, ladies. Don't run me over. Come on, girls. There's snacks. There you go. I lost count. Hopefully that's all of them. One thing that has become screamingly apparent is loader tractors and a terrible placement of lights. So on the front, right, I got 2 lights right up front, and I got a couple lights down there, but I got nothing up here from the top. So all the guy's got to do is bring the loader up 6 inches, and effectively suddenly you have 0 headlights. So even if you leave the loader down low and you put a round bale in the grapple, you're still running around pretty doggone blind. So I might have to find a 24-inch light bar or something from Princess Auto and put up top there. I think that would make for a pretty significant change to how quickly and efficiently a guy can do chores. All right, everything's back in the shop, tucked away, defrost, ready for another day tomorrow. So I'll let you go for now. I'm gonna go fetch up a cup of tea. I hope you're having a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.